All right, here we go this morning. I am really starting to lose steam on these videos. I didn't record any yesterday because I was in a rush and just trying to get out of the house and get to where I needed to be. I think that I think that my whole schedule's kind of jacked up right now because I'm doing this thing. Oh wow, I'm leaving the house at my normal time today, which I didn't even realize I was doing until just right now, because I'm supposed to be in the building around now because I'm covering for somebody who starts an hour before I do, and I just went back into my usual habits and do what I always did. At any rate, that's the part of the issue, is my schedule's all messed up because I'm doing all this extra stuff, and then I can't think about what needs to be done, and my right ear is clogged and I can't hear out of it, which is frustrating, and it almost always leads to a headache at the end of the day. And I haven't had this actually happen in quite a while. It used to happen, I feel like, pretty frequently, in that I set up reoccurring appointments in order to keep it from happening. But as we all know, life happens, and it becomes more and more difficult to keep up with these things. But it is important to keep up with these things because you got to keep yourself in some resemblance of good health. And it does help me to put things in perspective because I have a relatively good job. Well, I shouldn't say relatively. I have a good job. It's just very stressful and all-encompassing and consuming and all those things. And it's easy for me to get uptight and in my feelings about it. But then I have other friends who don't have quite as good of jobs, or none at all, and or like their jobs will give them all this time off, but it's all unpaid time off, and so it's rough, and they're not getting paid a whole lot. So it's like, I'm not getting paid a whole lot, and then I'm forced to take weeks upon weeks of unpaid time off, and it's just rough. And it helps to put things in perspective for me, because I have moments where I'm all grumpy and tired of this place, and then I see the kind of work that other people have and have to put up with, and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'm not doing so bad after all. And I think it is helpful and healthy to have perspective and to maintain perspective. Like, look at things from the other side of the coin as often as you possibly can. Going back into the work environment, which I will avoid specifics because I did say I wanted to get away from talking about work, but there was this thing that we had to do. We acquired, trying to figure out a real world way to do this without giving away what it is that's going on. So it's like we acquired 4 biscuits, and I decided to give 1 biscuit to another person, and then it turned out that I needed all 4 of those biscuits, so I requested another biscuit and I got one. Well, now that I have gotten the 4 biscuits that I originally had, and plus the one that I gave away, they feel like I gave away the one as some sneaky or underhanded thing, when in fact, like, I was just working with the information I had at the moment, and the information I had at the moment implied that the biscuit was better used elsewhere, and so I gave it away. Excuse me. And then when it became apparent that we were going to need the biscuit after all, I bought another one, essentially. And that's where the rub comes in, because they're like, well, you wouldn't have had to have bought one if you didn't give away one to begin with. It's like, yep, I get that. But once again, I was only working with the information that I had readily available. And so it's interesting to me, because of all that, trying to figure out what's going on and navigating my way through all of the things that I'm trying to do. It's annoying because I'm being very vague right now, and I feel like I'm not leading up to a very good story because of my vagueness. I need to lean more on life stories and life examples than work stories and work examples, because like Dry Creek Wrangler School, he's got a lot of life stories that he leans on, and those are really interesting to hear about. But I have either not got very many or just don't share them as often as I probably should. But the whole point of that was that it's healthy to have another perspective and to look at things from another angle. And so I could see how, from the outside looking in, me giving away that bagel seemed like a bad idea, but like they don't know the full perspective that I had, that I was using going into that decision. And so that's why it's like really important that when we're trying to understand people and we're trying to understand each other, that we look at both sides of that coin, because there is at least two sides to every story, if not more, and they all have their own legitimate reasons as to why they did what they did. And we owe it to ourselves and to those people to at least make an effort to understand the why behind it all. And if we don't even make the effort, then we wind up not doing ourselves a favor, not doing them a favor. We run the risk of causing unnecessary damages and unnecessary harm. And it's just better overall to try and have a clear understanding of the people and what's going on around you and all that fun stuff. And so that was one of the many things that I've been thinking about here recently, because it's just been so impactful right now. And it's unfortunate because there's a whole bunch of shifting sands going on, and whenever there is a major change, that is usually your opportunity to ask for something new. But that is not what happened. We're gonna end up asking for what we've always had, because that's where we're caught right now. And then if we try and come at this person with something new after the fact, it's gonna look like we're just constantly asking for stuff, very needy, and that's not necessarily what we want either. So hopefully we can go where we need to go, get what we need to get, and we can, I don't know when the next time we're going to be allowed to meet on these things is. Like, is it going to be sometime in the near future? Is it going to be sometime in the distant future? It's just a whole lot of stuff going on. And like I said, I should be more thankful for the fact that I have all this stuff going on, that I have a job that's paying me as well as it is, and that I am able to maintain. And hopefully other people can see and understand and appreciate that as well. But it's all just life, and how we go about experiencing it. There are many times where I feel like I am not experiencing it enough. I don't much care for travel. Like, I'm content where I am. I'm content where I've landed. I don't know that if I had someone else who was like just handling the travel for me and I was just going along for the ride, or even just funding the ride, like that would do me pretty well. But I just don't, otherwise I don't have the want for it. And so, I don't know. It's interesting to me, but it's difficult at the same time. And I'm constantly battling with myself. Like, am I making the most of my life? Am I doing the most with my life? And I feel like it all comes down to the individual. Like, we can't let society dictate or decide what makes a full life and what makes an empty life. And like, I may not have traveled the country and seen the world, but I have done things that a lot of people have not. I've made my own cartoon. I've built my own house. I've done a lot of things that the rest of the world cannot say that they've done. And that should be rewarding in and of itself. I shouldn't need to constantly validate or revalidate my concerns or my goals in order to establish my life as a successful one. But it is incredibly easy to get caught up in all of the things that the world wants to convince you is success, and you get caught up in those things, and then the next thing you know, you've just completely lost whatever was going on. I don't know. Poor concentration. I feel like, going back to what I was saying earlier, these videos they're losing their direction. And part of that is my problem and my fault. I don't know if part of it is or the whole thing is, but I need to get back to trying to find topics every morning to talk about, because just talking isn't quite doing it. But to the same end, like, I've got so many videos out now. I'm at video 207 of this 365 challenge, and I don't know that a single one of them has reached over 1,000 views naturally. And it's just getting to that point where it's like, alright, why am I doing this? And it'll feel good, I think, next year when I pull back the reins a little bit and I'm not driving myself crazy trying to keep up with it. I certainly don't want to do away with it. But the whole idea of uploading daily will definitely be gone. And I think it'll be good to delete some of the fluff off the channel, because there's a lot of it. And so, I don't know. It's just, I really want to get somewhere significant with all this. And it seems like no matter what I do, I cannot gain any sort of attention. And like Compression Man, I advertise that to people who are supposed to be like fans of animation and stuff, and they don't watch it past like the first 30 seconds. They don't even get through the intro hardly. And it's like, what is going on? Like, it is very annoying and disheartening, because it's like, is my content like crap? Is that why people literally don't even watch it past the first 30 seconds? Like, 90% of the views that I got was through the ads that I ran for my for Compression Man, and then all of those views, and hardly anybody actually watched past the first 30 seconds. And it's annoying, and it's part of the issue is trying to get ahead of the game, and I think that's where I'm stuck now, is I am behind the game. And so no matter what I do, I'm trying to play catch up. Like YouTube, and people will say this, and I like to think that it's not the case, but YouTube has been around now for 15 years, maybe even 20. And I mean, I think it'll be 20 next year. I think it started in 2005. But anyway, YouTube's been around now for a while. And like the idea of it being this platform where you can make money and be successful is not an old idea either. And so the competition is immense. The amount of content that is on YouTube is more than any one person could watch in their entire lifetime. And so when you consider all of those things, you consider how difficult it is to reach a significant audience and to reach someone. Like, you have to really have a hold of their attention in order to maintain, because they can go literally log off and watch any millions of other things that they would rather be watching. And it's just interesting and fascinating to try and figure out, like, what gives something that magic. And I think advertising has a lot to do with it. You look at like traditionally run TV shows, and there's a decent amount of advertising that goes into it. Like, if nobody knows your videos exist, no one's going to watch them. But then, like, even when you get viewers in, you can't retain them for very long. And if people aren't watching it for very long, then the algorithm's not going to promote it. It just creates this whole big old vicious cycle where now I've got thousands of videos or views on these videos, and none of them last longer than 30 seconds. And they're like, oh, well, none of these views last longer than 30 seconds. There's no need to keep pushing this video for free when I know people aren't going to want to watch it. And it really makes you feel crappy about the product. And like with social media, like traditional social medias like Instagram, Facebook, things like that, a lot of people celebrate when their product gets seen by thousands of people, because they're like, well, without social media we wouldn't have been seen by that many people. And I'm just like, yeah, but it doesn't really, like, with Instagram maybe, because people are physically seeing it. If you're like posting a picture that gets seen by a bunch of people, like, yes, then your art is being seen by more people than before. But if it's like a video, it's like if thousands of people went to go watch your video, your movie, and then left the theater within the first 30 seconds. And it's like, that's the part of it that's kind of disheartening and unfortunate, because it's like, is that a reflection on the work, or is that a reflection on the people? Like, I like to think that it's a reflection on the people. Maybe it's a little bit of both, but people's attention spans are so short these days and so shortly spread. They have no investment in the product. And that's part of the problem too, is it's harder to get people invested in your product because there's so much other stuff out there that it's just like, why invest in this when there's literally anything else that I could be doing? I don't feel like this was the greatest one. Thank you if you made it this far. Y'all have a good day.